I'm driving through the narrow wet lanes to get to one of my favourite locations up on the downs where the wind-swept trees are. You guys have seen this plenty of times on the channel. And although I have plenty of negatives from this location, I've not been there before with this camera, the Pentacon 6. So I've come up on the downs today and you guys have seen me up here quite a few times. But today I've just been sitting indoors thinking I want to go and take photographs somewhere, and I kept seeing the clouds. I just thought I've got to go somewhere, those clouds are awesome. So I just thought I'd come back up, message coming through, I just thought I'd come back up on the downs and take pictures of the same tree that I've been taking pictures of for the last bloody millennium, you know. But different results, hopefully. I bought out the Pentacon 6, which I recently got. You guys probably know about this already. I bought out some filters with me as well, and I bought out a film. I think I haven't really shot much of this stuff, but I think this is going to be awesome up here. This is a ILFORD SFX 200 film, and if you go on the data charts or the text sheets of ILFORD, you'll see this stuff just rips off the scale of the colour spectrum, you know, right into the red zones. If you use a real deep red filter with this stuff, you'll get kind of like an infrared sort of look. I haven't got a deep red filter, I've just got a red filter on here, so I'll be interested to see, shooting this without the filter and shooting it with, what results I get. And I've also bought out with me as well some trusty ILFORD 100, ILFORD Delta 100. That stuff is a brilliant film. I love this for my landscapes, so we'll see. But first of all, I'm going to shoot the SFX. I've also bought out a Leica Q2, which is a digital camera with a little bit of a twist. I've put a skylight filter on there and I've smothered it in Vaseline, all apart from the centre circle. That can give you sometimes really strange effects. I've done this a lot in the darkroom, but I've never really done it much on camera. So that's a video I'm going to be making about soon. So I've been trying to collate a load of pictures or images with this little filter that I've smothered in Vaseline. That will be coming out at some point, but easy obviously to do with film. I'm just practicing it with digital because it's a lot cheaper. And where we live, it's all some people come and see me sometimes. If they're coming to the island, they'll hook up and say, can we go out and take pictures? I'm like, yeah, sure, if I've got time. I'll come out, no problem. And they're so surprised by all the little lanes that we have to drive through on the island. Most of those lanes they weren't meant for cars years ago. They were just made for tractors, you know, before cars were even invented probably, or some carts and stuff. And so the lanes that I have to drive through are really tiny, really small, and can be quite challenging when it's soaking wet. You never know when a car's coming around the corner, but you soon get used to it. It's looking nice up there. It's a bit windy, guys. I've forgotten my mic, so I do apologise if the sound's a bit naff on this video. Camera's loaded, and the lens I've got on here is Biometer 18mm f2.8 lens, MC multi-coated, so it's a really sweet lens on this. I probably won't even be able to talk much, guys, on the camera because of that wind. So I forgot my bloody microphone. I forgot my microphone. What sort of vlogger am I, eh? Goes out with half his gear. I haven't even got a cable release. I'll forget my brain if I had one. Right, monopod. I'm ready to go. Ready to rumble. It's pretty windy. I'll tell you where I am, look. Up on the downs, they literally could have made that film American Werewolf in London up here, you know. Stick to the road and keep off the moors and all that stuff. I love coming up here though. It's just so peaceful. It's bloody windy today. Ah, look at the clouds. Jeez, I didn't realise how cold and windy it is up here. It's just started to rain as well, and I didn't bring me bloody hat. So my bonce is getting a bit wet and cold. It's really icy today. What is going on? It was meant to be having a heat wave in October, bloody weatherman. There's a rainbow. And And it's perfect here this time of day because the sun is over that way and it's lighting the tree up. It's absolutely beautiful. It's interesting to see what this filter does. At the moment I'm just hiding behind this tree out of the wind and out of that rain. Looks like it's stopped now. Strange day. So I just walked back to the car. I was reading a message on my phone someone sent me and I trod in a massive lump of cow shit. Oh boy. I've been 10 minutes scraping it off. Anyway, I didn't shoot the ILFORD Delta 100. To be honest with you, I didn't prepare for this. I just ran up here when I saw the clouds. I didn't have the right gear on. I just got a t-shirt underneath this little light rainproof Mac and no hat. But I think I got some nice photographs. I tried some different exposures. Opening it up to f4 with the red filter. So I'm going to go back, we'll develop the film and we'll see how this ILFORD SFX 200, I shot it at 200 by the way, how it pans out. Hopefully I've got some nice negatives to work with, and if I have, I'm looking forward to getting in the darkroom and making a print. And like I said a little while ago in one of my videos, I'm lucky to have a darkroom, even though it's a shed in the garden. I'm lucky to have that space where I can, you know, fulfill the next part of film photography for me, which is making prints. So for those of you that are still watching the video after all that tremendous wind noise, I suppose it shows the environment I was in. It was bloody windy up there, but I did forget my microphone. Thanks a lot for sticking around anyway. I'm in the darkroom now and I'm about to make a print. I'll show you the process of making the print. I've developed the negatives already. Here they are here. I've developed these in D23, which is the developer that I make myself. Very easy to make. And I developed these on a rotary processor for 12 minutes. I wrote all my stuff down on here, see, like I do with all my negatives. That shows me the film, the lens, the development process and the camera and the location and the date. But now the part for me, it being in the darkroom, is deciding what negative that I want to make a print of. They all look very nice. I might make two, but I think I'm just going to go for one today. But I've always got the negs to come back. And like I said, I'm grateful that I've got this little darkroom that I can fulfill the rest of my film photography journey, making prints. That's not to go say that if you guys scan or Photoshop and you inkjet printing, who cares? You're still shooting film and enjoying it. This is just a process that I enjoy. Some people don't even like the darkroom process, but it's a part that I really do enjoy. So I'm going to choose one of these negs to have a look at. I'll show you on the light box, and you can see this is the carrier that I'm using, and it's slightly filed back so it shows the rebate edge of the film. I want to make a little black border around it. I think that will look quite nice. So this is the carriers that I'll be using, and with the freestop red filter, I didn't really see much greatness on it, to be honest with you. I think obviously it's a near infrared film, so I definitely need the R72 deep red filter for the effects to come out, but I could see a very slight tint of lightness in the green areas on some of these negs where I use the red filter. But to be honest with you, I think they also come out looking really nice without the red filter as well. But I'm going to use the red filter negatives because I think it pops the sky a little bit nicer. And I don't want these to be contrasty. I don't want them to be flat, but I don't want them to be extra contrasty, which is what I like sometimes. But I like the way that I scanned them. So we'll have a look at, see how they look. I'm not sure of the sharpness yet, but we'll soon see from the test strip. Right, we'll put that in now. Looks clean. And this is the easel, basic easel that I use for my printing. The paper goes underneath there. That's when you make your print. You've got your guidelines for the size paper that you're using, or the size print that you want to make. I'm going to make a 8.5 by 8.5 square. So there's 8.5 inches there and 8.5 inches there. So that'll give me a nice little white border around that paper that I'm using. So there's the photograph projected on the baseboard inside my guidelines there. And I'm just working on the rebate, the size of the rebate that I want. And inside the carrier I've got these little blades. You can see it there. The blades come in and out. So I can just close them down slightly and make that border, the rebate area, slightly thinner than it otherwise would be. And then I use this focus finder here. I can just put my eye through there and then focus in so I can see the grain of the film. It's very fine actually. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Let's get my phone out so you guys can see. I'll record it through my phone. This is really tricky to do, but I think you get the idea. So that's what I'm seeing. You can just barely see the grain there. It's quite tricky to show you, but I think you can get the idea. Just about see the grain on the top left side. So now I'm all happy now with everything the way it's looking. So all I need to do is just decide what aperture I want to use on the enlarger. Just pull the filter over. It's gone red now, so that's too bright for me to print. That'll only take a couple of seconds. So let's pull the aperture down a couple of stops. About there, it's quite nice, and that will give me enough time to do any dodging, burning if I want to do any, but also enough time on the test print to see my ideal time for making the real print. So I've got my test print out now, and we'll just have a quick look. I'm going to put it right across the grass and the horizon, so I'll get the best of both worlds there. On it goes. And then my base time is 10 seconds, and from there this timer will work out how long I need to make a print. Real simple stuff. So I'll just burst the whole paper first. There it goes. So that's the first section done, and then I'll make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then of course the very first one was 7. So I've made 7 increments there. Done. Just pop this in a developer, give it a stop and fix, and we'll have a look. So there's the test strips that I made with the lens at f8. Sorry, that was it was too dark, so I had to scrap that one and change the lens to f16. So we've got 3.5 seconds, 5 seconds, 7, 10, 14.1. Notice they're working in stops or half a stop increments. So if we look at our base time, 10 seconds, to me that's looking a bit too dark in the tree. Nice in the clouds, a bit too dark in the tree and too dark at the bottom. If I come down to 7 seconds, which is half a stop away, a little bit half a stop brighter or more exposure, I'm losing detail in the clouds, but I've got the tree and the grass nice. So I'm going to do a test print at 7 seconds and see how that looks from the next test. So there's my test at 7 seconds going right across. I could see the clouds and also the tree and also the grass. It's not popping as much as I'd like, but look at this. It's the clouds here are too light, this area of the cloud. So I need to lower the contrast and then start using contrast filters to try and work on this print and build it back up. If I went even longer with that 2.5 grade filter, of course it would build up the density in the cloud part here, but it would kill all this area. As you can see from the test strip, it would start making everything too dark. So I need to lower the contrast, and maybe once I've got that, I can use another contrast filter to bring out the grass area and make it pop a little bit more. So I'm back to square one. Take the 2.5 grade filter out, and I'll put a contrast 0 filter in. You can see the difference in colours, look, and this just lowers the contrast, so it will build up the whites for me, but it won't hardly touch much of the blacks and the shadow areas. So we'll just see what this does. Another test strip, off we go. So this is the second test print I've made with the contrast 0 filter. You can see the lack of contrast that I've got now, which I can then build up to. So hopefully I might be able to nail this. So again, 3.5 seconds, 5 seconds, 7. I think I'm looking at 10 seconds. Looks nice in that sky. And then I need to then just try and work on the grass a little bit. So we'll do another test print, 10 seconds, and see what that looks like. So that's the test print that I've just done, 10 seconds with the contrast 0. You can see the difference between the 2.5. I've got no detail in this area of the sky, but here it's just starting to build up. So it's quite a tricky negative to make a print with, but at least I've got this 10 seconds on grade 0 that I can work with. But I do need to get something out of this grass without it looking too muddy. There, it's too flat. I need that to pop at least. I'll have to have a little think around. So I appreciate it's quite hard for you guys to see this in the darkroom. I've had to turn a couple of red lights off so I can see it for me dodging and burning. Hopefully you can get the idea of what I'm doing. So I've got a contrast 0 filter in there now for 10 seconds. And then after 3 seconds, I'm going to stop any light hitting the grass. So the grass in effect only gets 3 seconds of contrast 0, and the top of the part gets more than that. The other 7 seconds. Let's go. I'll count it in. 3. Now I'll just cover the grass now. So that's only had 3 seconds of contrast 0. Just wobbling around so it doesn't make a a hard line, so just sort of vignetting it, or smoothing it in as you like. So now I'll swap over to the contrast 5 filter. Left the timer at 10 seconds, but I'll still count this in. Just a couple of seconds on the contrast 5 for the overall, and then I'll blend it in. So 1, 2, start from the top of the grass down, like so, to the bottom. So we've got darker at the bottom, there you go, lighter at the top of the grass. And now I'm just going to use this tool here, which is like a burn hole, put the contrast 0 back in, hopefully try and get some detail back out in that bright part of the clouds if I can. Just turn the enlarger on and do it freestyle. I need to know where it is. Okay, I've got it roughly. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just touching that highlight part of the sky. Hopefully that'll work. Put it in the developer, see how we get on with this one. So it's not I don't always come out of here with great looking prints. Sometimes I can get lucky and come out with a nice print where the negative's really good, and other times I've got a good looking negative but there might be some marks on it or something embedded in the emulsion that's you know, going to need to be Photoshop and inkjet printed maybe, or spotted out if I want to make a silver print. But I think for me, with you know, being in a dark room, a bit of music, cup of coffee or a beer or whatever on an evening or in a day, it's just quite nice and relaxing making my own prints. They don't have to be fantastic, they don't have to be award winning, they don't have to be groundbreaking, they just have to be mine. This one's coming out quite nice. I'm glad I burned that sky in, you'll see a big difference now. This has actually come out nice. I did say I didn't want it looking contrasty, but I think it looks better throwing that contrast 5 filter in and just giving it a bit of depth. Let's get it stopped and fixed and washed, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. And here's the final print. This has come out much better than I expected. Look at the detail in the sky, it's amazing. All I did was a contrast 0 filter to start with, as you saw, for 10 seconds, but for 7 of those seconds I covered this part, so the ground didn't get any further than 3 seconds of contrast 0. So that just gave it a little tiny tickle of light, and then I put the contrast 5 filter in and brought the card down and then just gradiented in the contrast 5 for what, nearly 10 seconds, burning into the bottom here, which is why that's quite dark. And then I used contrast 0 again and the burn tool just to concentrate light over this bright part of the cloud, which has now brought out the detail. And if I show you the other one that I did, where so that's the first one that I did, you can see why I needed to burn the sky in. So that burn in the sky just gave that a little bit more mood. So I've just finished printing that neg. I'm going to stick around in my dark room and make a couple more prints of some of these negatives that I've got here. But I'll close the video down. That SFX film, the print that you saw, I used the red filter on. I don't think those coking filters that I've got, I could tell a complete difference in sharpness between the ones that I shot without the filter and the ones that I shot with the filter. So I'll definitely, you know, we all know that the quality of filters is going to completely look different on your scans or your prints. Or maybe it was the film, I don't know. Maybe it was the film trying to push a little bit of infrared in there and it was starting to look a bit soft. That could be a reason as well. But I definitely needed the deep red R72 filter for if I want to try and get the benefits out of that film. But hey ho, using that film without any filters is actually a really nice film. I'll show you some of the scans that I took and you guys can see for yourselves. So anyway guys, I'll leave the scans with you, and thanks very much for watching as usual. Apologies for the sound earlier on when I forgot to take my microphone up on the downs, but it's what it is, isn't it? Have a great weekend and I'll catch you next time.